The American dream to me, I guess I'm already living my American dream. It used to be to have a family, to have a home, to have a house, to have a car, to have a steady job.
For me, it's having a better life. Not having to suffer, like economically, not being hungry.
Bueno, el sueño americano. Mejor vida, tranquilidad, oportunidades.
The American dream is that everybody would have an opportunity, everybody would be treated with dignity and respect, everybody would be able to earn a living, support their family, get an education. For me, it's not about a lot of riches, which many people think, but it's about equal opportunity for everybody.
They want to be able to live safely and securely, to be able to have some freedom, to feel that they're protected in exercising fundamental rights, and they want to have economic stability, an ability to earn a living, to provide for themselves and their families.
Basically, in Mexico, there's no way you can work enough to save money and buy anything. I mean, over there, there's work, but there's no money. They don't pay you enough to survive, especially when you have a family of 4.
Buscando las oportunidades, buscando el trabajo, buscando una mejor vida para su familia.
Mi esposo no podía encontrar trabajo, ni yo tampoco. Yo estuve trabajando un tiempo de sirvienta en varias casas, pero pues con eso no podíamos alimentar a mis 2 hijos.
I would say a good part of it is economic. The countries that they come from have been damaged often by the trade agreements of our country, and they cannot support their family anymore.
If you are here in unlawful status and you actually lose some ability to come into the United States in a lawful status, if you've been here for a year, or longer than a year, you become ineligible, and actually, if you are found out and deported, then you're not going to be able to re-enter for 10 years. You lose actually what otherwise might have been avenues that were available to you.
My impression is our country right now is trying to get rid of every immigrant that's undocumented. In 2000, less than 200,000 people were deported. In 2012, over 400,000 people were deported.
I think there is discrimination in terms of someone who looks Hispanic is probably more likely to be the subject of a stop and inquiry regarding their immigration status. Somebody who speaks with a foreign accent. Some of the state laws that were passed in Alabama and Arizona, were clearly being enforced in ways that were discriminatory. There's a lot of fear on a day-to-day basis that anything that happens that could bring you into contact with any kind of governmental authority could lead to your deportation.
I would say that everyone who comes here without status is walking on eggshells.
Lo que más temor me da es que un día me lleguen a agarrar y no poder ir a recoger a mis hijos a la escuela.
I think there are certainly cases where one or both parents of children have been deported because they had no lawful status, but the children were born in the United States and therefore were citizens. And so that's the trauma of breaking up a nuclear family.
Yo creo que las personas que tenemos hijos, siempre estás temiendo salir, ir a trabajar y no llegar, no regresar a tu casa, no volver a ver a tus hijos.
Friday is my hard day, watching those families being ripped apart. And some of them do move back to their country in spite of the fact that children are U.S. citizens.
Conocemos niños que se han tenido que ir a México porque sus papás no tienen otra opción, entonces pues mejor se los llevan. Siendo ciudadanos americanos pierden todos los derechos de estar en este país que les pertenece.
My biggest fear would be them sending me back and me not having the life that I'm used to.
You know, the reality is, if the United States could deport all of the undocumented people who are here, if we had the means to do that, it would be one of the dumbest ideas that anybody ever had, because there's so much economic activity, you know, that those people are engaged in. You'd throw the United States back into a recession.
How is my government any better off without my husband here? And I don't know. He paid his taxes. He had his own business. He raised his children, which I now have to do by myself.
I've seen people have to give up apartments, move in with family.
Cuando un miembro de la familia llega a faltar, si es una familia donde el papá es el único proveedor de ellos y es el papá el que es deportado, esta familia está completamente perdida.
Nos afectaría mucho porque pues al ya no estar yo aquí, mi esposo tendría que o dejar de trabajar o buscar quién cuide a los niños.
Currently, if you're in the United States without legal status, there is, and for people who were brought in by their parents before they were 16 years old, there is a program called Deferred Action, which gives you a 2-year temporary status that right now at least can be renewed and can get you work authorization and provide you with a temporary legal status. But there isn't any overall program for citizenship as a part of that program.
So how did you get your residency?
Well, when my parents brought me here, I came in illegally. I was 8, my sister was 3 years old, and they gave us a different name. They gave me a haircut. Actually, I crossed the border with a birth certificate of a little boy. They dressed me up as a little boy. So they crossed me with another couple. They told me that they were going to be my father for that moment and my mother, so they crossed me over the border.
There are specified ways or manners in which you're supposed to be able to enter the United States and to stay in the United States. And, you know, the two biggest areas are if you have family members, close family members in the United States under, you know, a theory of family reunification, you can petition to have, or those people can petition to have their relatives come to the United States and become permanent residents.
The image that struck me was, how can we move people like pieces on a chessboard with no control? They have no control.
Siempre trato de motivar a la gente de que tenemos que luchar. Ya estamos aquí en este país y ahora tenemos que luchar por lo que nos merecemos, porque no estamos haciendo nada malo.
And just all the wonderful skills and knowledge and values that they've learned in their own country that they bring here to share with us. I think it's just really enriches our society.
I think the majority of the people in the United States now favor immigration reform. I think the polls show that. I think the vast majority of the business community in the United States favors it and realizes it would be a good thing. majority of the religious communities in the United States think it would be a good thing.
Think of what you're doing when you're separating these families, because most of the time when they deport a parent, the parent isn't doing any wrong. The parent is just here to give their kid a chance to succeed in life, to be someone.
Just remember, every person is a human being with the right to dignity and respect.